All right, according to Kristen's computer, it's 6:30, so why don't we get started? We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to the February school board meeting. Happy to have everyone here tonight. So we'll begin with the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the 3 meetings that we had in January?
I move to accept the 3 meeting minutes from January.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, Arnie seconds it. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. No changes to the minutes. Okay, Dr. Arrowood will give some comments on curriculum and board information.
Our first task tonight is to approve our student parent handbooks for the elementary school, middle school and athletics, high school athletics, technology, and our Little Husky Learning Center. So you've had those to review. All the folks that helped work on those are here tonight. So if you have any questions for them, but it's a pretty thorough process, and we've worked really hard the last several years to make sure there's cohesion between especially our 3 buildings, that those handbooks are similar in nature and layout and what they say them. So really proud of our team for the work they've done, and I would recommend approval of those handbooks.
Is there any comments from anyone who helped build those handbooks? Anything they would like to?
Do want to point, so Julie's here from the elementary, Jill's here, she does a lot of that heavy lifting at the middle school. Mitch does quite a bit of that at the high school, Craig with the technology, and then the athletic piece with each of those buildings is wrapped in as well.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for your work on that. Can I have a motion to approve the handbooks?
I move that we approve the handbooks.
As a motion by Julie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Gretchen seconds it. Any discussion on any of the handbooks? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Commemoration of facilities, Dory is leading a team, that committee met, earlier in January to look at naming the team meeting room at the locker room space at the high school, the new locker room space, the Jared Mason team meeting room. Dory's working on some, pictures and layouts of what that will look like. There will also be some, signage that would be inside that room. There'll be some signage outside that room, and then there'll be some signage in the new front office space at the high school to commemorate the longest serving principal district in Hamilton Heights High School. So I don't know, Dory, is there anything else you want to share with that, or I think we're moving on and
We're moving on. We should have renderings by the next board meeting.
get a likely dedication probably in late April. I think, is that what we
May
said?
24th, a Saturday of Memorial Weekend, is when baseball team plays Frankfurt, which Jared was an assistant principal at Frankfurt. So that's what we're targeting right now.
And that was one of his favorite days of the year because that was Frankfurt would come in and there'd be a lunch picnic.
Usually cookout, everything, play Frankfurt.
And while Cyrus Mason does apparently have a broken hand of some sort, who knows how that happened, but he'll be a part of that baseball team, and we'll work with the family to make sure that they're also there as well.
Very good. I think that's great. Very appropriate.
My last item is board policy. We are up to batch 6 of our transitioning our board policy from Neola policies to church, Hill, and Antrim policies. The policy committee is now Gretchen and Arnie, and we met earlier this week to go over the batch 6 policies and made some really minor tweaks to those. I think Kristen sent those out on yesterday morning. I would recommend approval of batch number 6 of our CCHA board policy.
Thank you, Dr. Irwin. Can I have a motion to approve batch 6, second reading?
I'll make the motion.
Gretchen makes the motion. Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Arnie seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
You do have batch number 7 in your homework file, so we'll review those over the next month. We did have a committee of administrators meet and discuss those and then work with CCHA on those, but we'll tweak those again at our policy meeting, in March. Bring those back for approval, hopefully at the March board.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Irwin. Okay, we'll now move to business and operations.
The first item I have are several financial items, the first of which is the December and end of year financials for 2024. We ended with a fund balance of $19,172,835. We earned a rate of interest through the month of December of 0.4% to 4.8%. We did end the month and the calendar year 2024 in surplus positions in both operation and education funds. I did include the regular reports, but I also did include a taxing fund report. So it gives you a history compared to 24 to 23 of our performance for all of the DLGF approved taxing funds, operations, debt, education, and rainy day fund. Those are the financials for 2004.
For ending the year on positives and
Yes.
both sides.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
That's my goal.
Ours too.
The financials for the month ending January 31st, 2025. We ended with a fund balance of $18,166,802. We did earn a rate of interest very similar to December of 0.4 to 4.54%. The cash flow for the first month in 2025 doesn't look as good as it did at the end of 2024. And that's primarily because January was a 3-pay month. Typically, all 3-pay months, we do spend more than we have in revenue. But then also the operation fund is always in a deficit position outside of those months when we don't receive property tax collections. So, but the education fund was also in a deficit position because of that 3-pay month. So, not anything to be alarmed for or with for the first month of 2025. Those are the first two items. Any questions on those two items in the financials? The next two items are items that we have to go through every year. The first of which is the corporation and ECA outstanding check report. So any checks that were issued prior to 2000 or December 31st of 2022 for a period of over 2 years have to be declared stale or outstanding, and we can void those checks. So I gave you a list of the corporation issued checks and ECA fund checks. After approval, we will void those checks, and those funds will revert back to the fund in which they were written upon. So it's the annual request each year for this process.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the cancellation of corporate? Is it cancellation? Is that the correct word to use?
Voiding.
Voiding the
Voiding.
corporation and ECA outstanding checks.
I move that we accept the voiding corporation, the ECA outstanding checks.
Thank you, Ben. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Julie seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
The next item is a resolution to approve the transfer of funds within the education operation fund. This report is very confusing, but all it is essentially doing is transferring appropriations that are overexpended within each fund from funds that have available balance in those appropriations, just making sure that it's balanced. The fund itself was not overexpended. Neither fund were overexpended. This is just a process that State Board of Accounts requires us to do to just balance the individual appropriations within each fund. So this is just an appropriate or a resolution approving Karen Province Corporation Treasurer to make that appropriation transfer so we can close the books for 2025 or 24, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Can I have a motion to accept the transfer of appropriations for 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Kristen makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Arnie seconds it. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
The next two items are dealing with student transfers. So the first of which is a request to approve 3 mid-year transfer requests that we received, one in 6th grade, one in 4th, and one in 8th grade. All 3 of these students were registered and enrolled and in attendance in time for our spring count. So I would request approval of those 3 new transfer students.
Thank you, Kristen. Can I have a motion to accept the mid-year transfer students?
I move that we accept the mid-year transfer students.
Julie makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ben seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
The next item is the 2025-26 transfer student process. So it includes the timeline and the application. This will be the second year that we use the Google form process. That worked very well last year. So that form is ready to go and I will publish it assuming approval. So the many people that are interested in applying already can actually apply. So the process is very similar. Open the application up, allow for applications to come in through May 1st. That is the initial deadline. At the May board meeting, we will come back with all of the applications that we received, and then we'll also set the grade level capacities at that May 21st board meeting.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the 25-26 transfer student process?
Make the motion.
Gretchen makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ben seconds it. I had a little discussion, Kristen. So you made a comment that it feels pretty strong to this point. Do you think transfers, there's a good indication transfers?
I think what we approved last year, all over
That's like 410.
400. I think our count in the spring was, so our February count included 390 transfers. So we're over that 400 mark of applications received. Some of those don't always come true where they move into district and become resident enrollment. So I would anticipate 400 plus again. And they're already waiting in line. So.
People like coming through our schools.
And they're new ones. There's some returning that just know it's coming up and don't want to miss out. But there's a lot of emails that I'm receiving for new applications wanting to transfer to Heights.
Great. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next 2 items are from the technology department. The first of which is the 9th grade student devices. These are the MacBook devices. We will have the 5th grade iPad devices later. There's some changes coming with the device itself that we are still working through. So we'll come back with that recommendation at the next or a future board meeting. But this is a similar request as we've had in the past for the purchase of MacBook devices for 9th graders that they will have through their high school career.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the 9th grade MacBook purchases?
I move that we approve the 9th grade student device purchase.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any seconds? Although, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
The next item is an E-rate category 2 quote or recommendation to proceed with the purchase of Wi-Fi access points, primarily for high school. High school devices that will be replaced will be used in other buildings to expand coverage or fill in gaps. This is purchased through the E-rate program, and this purchase is to purchase the items in advance and then request the refund or the reimbursement from E-rate funding, which is eligible for 60%. So we take advantage of the E-rate funds every year, and this is the next project that we have. This approval or recommendation the next step will be getting the final E-rate approval. So we will wait to order the equipment and once we get that final approval. So with a planned installation date this summer, if all goes well.
Yes. I have a motion to proceed with the request for E-rate category 2 quotes.
I move that we proceed with the E-rate category 2 quote.
Thank you, Ben. Is there a second? Kristen seconds. One question you mentioned, Kristen, 60%. Is that a 60% discount or 60% of the price?
60% of the price. So you can get, I forget, and Dave can correct me. You can purchase outright and get the reimbursement or the rebate, however you want to describe it, or you can ask for discounted invoicing. I think if we do it this way, we get it quicker. Yeah. So typically it's 50%, 60%. It just kind of depends on the year and the funding project.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, for facilities, we'll have a project update from Dory, and Harrison is here from Meyer Dajon. We have pictures.
So we have pictures to go over. So this, just to remind everyone, is called phase 2. And Harrison, my name is here. Please interject, Harrison, if you have anything to say as we go through. This is showing, you're facing east behind the home bleachers. This is showing the elevator shaft and the press box that was put into place on Monday. That was fun to watch. And as she scrolls through the next couple of pictures, we're actually going in reverse. So it shows it getting installed, but then it shows it getting put up by the crane. So you just kind of keep going through there. I have not walked in it yet. They're still doing things to it to make it safe to do that. But that came as one piece and gets put into place.
Will there be signage on that or the elevator shaft?
There is signage planned for the front of the elevator shaft with the Husky logo. And we're looking to have it lighted as well, backlit. I think go. There was a lot because this was the exciting thing that happened. Baseball press box is built and ready. It's just not here. We're waiting for concrete to get put in place before that comes. So that is sitting somewhere waiting for us to call it. You saw a picture of underneath bleachers. That's just kind of showing. That's showing the elevator shaft. That's under the bleachers. Visitor bleachers are pretty much completed. If you've driven by and seen those. Okay, so here's a new picture. So this is the front of the high school. So this is the admin wing. That's just showing the framing and sheathing on the front of it. This is actually ahead of schedule. So that's good. Just showing a different angle. And I think the next one's inside looking out. The next one is the roof. So this is where they're tying in the roof to the existing building. That's also the admin area. Say different direction. This is facing north. This is, we're standing on the south side of the locker building looking north. So that's showing the egress going in. That's emergency only. You also can see the black holes. They're starting to put up the fencing. That's what those are. And then the ticket booth to the right.
Dory, I got a question on that.
Okay.
Sheriff Schrock was asking me last night, she takes all the food up to Will she be able to use that a golf cart to get her stuff up there?
Yep. A golf cart or a gator, but yeah, she'll have some vehicle. There is a storage area in that locker room for all of our gators to sit. So we'll just coordinate someone driving it out to her car and helping her do that.
Okay, thank you.
That's showing more of the fencing that's going in. This is the team room, looking at the south wall, which is kind of the front of that space. This is the smaller locker rooms on the south side. This again, it's just the locker rooms. I think it's showing the lighting above.
So on that lighting, can you talk a little bit about that lighting, Jordan? Because when we took the tour, it was kind of a pretty special. It's a highlight anyway.
But regardless,
Well, it was,
I love the lighting in the locker rooms. I think it's great, and it's not a standard of ours, so we have a new light fixture. So maybe Tyler, who's our main instructor, isn't all that excited about it as much as I am.
but it was really bright and
It's
it's
very
LED.
nice. Yeah.
Right. I got that right. It's LED.
Yeah, it's all LED. Yeah, every light in this building's LED. Harrison, do you have anything to add about the lighting?
The square lights in the ceiling are pretty unique, so
Yeah.
you guys see those, they'll be pretty excited. The maintenance guy will definitely have some new light fixtures to put in the storage closet.
Maintenance, everything would be identical, exactly the same. Understandably so, it's easier. This is the ticket booth, so you're facing southeast. And I think this is showing the south end of the locker building, but this shows the canopies are up. When we toured last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, those canopies were being installed, so those are currently up now. And what will happen on the dark brick centered in that wall will be our Husky logo. And that's also centered on the ticket booth. So as you walk into the ticket booth, all that's centered on access. This is showing the enormous amount of concrete that's being poured, and it has not stopped all through winter. This is as you're walking out of the team room, going east and walking out onto the field. So this is where the team will run out. That was all grass, and we've cleaned it up from tennis to the track. That's all concrete. Something else signage wise that I get excited about signage is the back of that scoreboard. We're putting signage on the back. So now it will look finished from the back side.
Will there be a fence between tennis and that football?
Yes. Yeah. There's actually quite a bit of fencing that's happening right here because we're keeping spectators out from the team area. And then we have tennis being fenced separate from the stadium area as well. This is just additional concrete that's facing the tennis court, so facing south. And the last two pictures are super exciting, but a lot of people like these. We got all the appliances in. So we have 2 ice makers, one in the training room and one that's in the concession that the team room can use. So we have our refrigerators, microwaves, all of that. Just kind of an update on schedule. We have our punch list Friday, which is earlier than planned, thanks to my R&A jump. Pat yourself up back, Harrison. And then Monday, my team is starting to move stuff in. So it's not going to be open yet for teams to use, but all next week we're moving in and trying to get it organized. And then hopefully turn it over to track, baseball, softball to start utilizing it the week after. That really also depends on weather. Next week, I think it's supposed to be nice enough, but we're still moving in, finishing up things. And then if the weather's still nice, we're all ready, we're going to hand it over for the spring sports to utilize. The admin and ag area, again, are ahead of schedule. And just so everyone knows, those are to be ready to be done in July to move it before next school. There's still a lot of work to do once school is out to connect the spaces. So that'll happen after school. You want to add, Harrison?
The temperatures have hurt us quite a bit through the winter, so this week there's a little bit of outside work going on, but we have a lot of concrete to place. So starting hopefully Friday we get a pour in, we'll start cleaning up the site, and there will be a lot more progress out there that you'll be able to see. So it'll look really good here in a few weeks.
So spring sports, just so everyone knows, and I think we have a meeting Monday about this with track. The track's gonna be opened up for them to use, but there will still be temporary fencing around, still blocking the, track teams from going to places they should not, because like Harrison said, we're still pouring lots of concrete, putting in permanent fencing, bringing in the baseball press box. So there's still a lot going on, but the track will be available for them to use. And then by the big orange, everything should be ready for the most part. I'm sure there's gonna be things here and there, but for the most part, for the big orange to use, which is in April. Any questions?
Fantastic. Thanks for,
Yes.
you know, not just being on schedule, but ahead of schedule. So great job, Dory. Great job, Harrison. Appreciate that.
The next item is the Student Activity Center track renovations out here. And then the paving project around this building and that building and the admin, or this building, sorry, and the admin building. So this project, we bid a couple weeks ago. It came in, I think, a pretty successful bid to do all of that work. The track work does include the sidewalks and fencing and bleachers. So visitor bleachers back on the visitor side, to accommodate those teams and, junior or youth football, to utilize the seating rather than the track. This project is slated to kick off March sometime, March 13th. Okay, and to be completed for this fall football season. So, and we will have to coordinate access to this building for board meetings, but we'll work through that schedule and keep you updated. But, this project, as I said, successful bid. This is a recommendation to accept those bids. It is with JBM contractors who we have had on our projects in the past, and they've done a great job. So this also is with Meyer Nagin's team and Harrison still continuing with us on that project. So
Good, thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the Student Activity Center and its administration project bids?
I move to accept the bids. As
Okay.
presented.
I'll second.
Already seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
my final items are the accounts payable and payroll claims.
Arnie, would you like to make a motion?
I move we pay the bills.
There we go. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Julie seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Kristen. Okay, we're gonna be moving to new business. We're gonna do a little separation. Mrs. Bonin, if you would like to give a presentation, before we, vote on the proposal, that would be fantastic.
Hello, I'm Kelly Monin. I trade off with Mrs. Street and Mr. Gray planning our international trip every other year. And so next year I'm lead on that, hopefully if you say yes. What I'm asking for your approval on is it's called a Holocaust Remembrance Tour, and this is through ACES, the same group that we're going to travel with this year. This will take us to Munich and Prague and Krakow, and will give the students a chance to see 3 different concentration camps, as well as the Nuremberg Document Center and Olympic Park in Munich, and should be a really amazing trip. These are places I've been to. These are places we teach about. We teach night to every freshman. And so they're going through that right now. These students will all have had that at some point. Because it's a serious tour, we're going to target the juniors and seniors first, because it is heavy. We'll have a little bit of downtime and some city tours, but a lot of it's going to be, it's called a Holocaust Remembrance. It's focused on that. Another good piece of this is that we will also go to Schindler's Factory, a bunch of that type history too. And this is less expensive than the one we did 2 years ago because of the places that we're going. We're talking $43.53 per student, and that includes the tips. So then they'll have to come up with their lunch and their spending money. But this is also a location in the world where it's a little less expensive. So we would like your permission to start planning that.
How many students do you expect and what's the time? What's the dates? I mean, what's your length?
The length of trip is 9 days. We're in country 7 days. So we have the 2 travel days on either end. If that's the numbers up there, 2 days in Munich, 2 in Prague, 3 in Krakow, because the Auschwitz days. We are looking for spring break time frame, but students may need to be out that week before spring break because Easter falls in the center. A lot of these places will be closed or travel will be very difficult, and families tend to not love having their kids gone for Easter. So this pricing is based on, we may need to miss a few days of school that last week. Student wise, I don't know, we're aiming for 1 bus, which is that 25 to 30-ish. We get 1 adult per 6 kids, so we will be fully staffed based on that. We may have a lot of interest in this one. It's just hard to know. It's really depends on price and availability and whether, the parents feel like their kids can handle, because we're going to be straight for them and say, Auschwitz is a really tough place to go.
But 1 bus, that is the requirement
Yes.
moving forward, is that we will not do a
Yes.
2-bus tour again, so.
Yes. Yes. Just having that conversation today was, yes, we're not taking that massive group again. It's tough. It's a big group. So, that would be the
Pink sounded like a principal, didn't she?
one bus. And they have a lower threshold too, to give us, this new company does, give us our own bus where we're not split. I don't think we're going to have any trouble hitting
Oh, no.
that number. So it should be pretty amazing if you guys want to say yes.
Okay. Is there other questions or discussion about the trip? Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay, what I would like to do is in the new business, I would like to accept the personnel report, but carve out the recommendation for high school principal. And then also approve the request in a motion as well. And then we'll have the high school principal motion after that. So can I have a motion for the separations from service recommendation on personnel report, and then the request with the exception of principal recommendation? Have that motion.
I move that we accept new business, except removing the high school principal.
Very good. Thank you, Ben.
I'll second.
For a second. Thank you, Julie. Any discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Looking forward to hearing about that trip.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. So, okay, so one of the last items of business is a recommendation of high school principal. And so the recommendation has been for Whitney Gray. Whitney, you got a kind of a posse here. You want to introduce some of your teammates here?
There's a team, yeah, so my family is in the front row, got some friends in the second row, and
Wait,
then.
we got to introduce them by name.
Please spell my name correctly.
So my parents, and Ricky in the middle, and this is Jason to the left of me. And then Taylor and Lindsay are in the middle row. And then I looked through here and there are administrators sitting here that would not be here tonight, if they weren't here just, to show their support, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Street and I have, somehow made it this far and are going to keep going. So, he has been a huge piece of this puzzle too, all the last 3 months. So.
Very good. Dr. Atwood, you
Did want to recognize the search committee, Rebecca Nicholas, Julie Griffey, Brian McCleary, Wendy Russell was on the search committee as well. Brett Bailey was on the search committee, and Kristen. We did interview, we did have 22 applicants. We interviewed 5 candidates, and as you've heard from her voice, he is a principal now, or about to be. But he stood out among the best, and appreciate the Smith family being here tonight. Jesse Catlin being here tonight, Stan and Diane Good in the back row, part of Whitney's journey, especially in the last 6 months, so.
Outstanding. Very good. Can I have a motion to approve Whitney as principal?
I move that we approve Mrs. Whitney Gray as the principal at Hamilton Heights High School.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a
I'll
second? Arnie seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? March on. That was an easy one, Whitney. That's great. Okay, are there any other items that need to come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Ed makes the motion. Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Julie second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you. We made it.